Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a beautiful brand new day and welcome to Earth's Ascension with Ortrun and Carl Franklin. Good morning, Franklins.
Good morning, everyone.
It's wonderful being together again. Yes, I hope you're having a wonderful morning already, and it continues to be even a better day. So we are together here on this beautiful, beautiful day. We have a sunny day, which is wonderful. And the topic that we're going to be looking at today is you and the big picture. So, Carl, do you have any thoughts on that to start out with?
Oh, I absolutely do.
Okay. So why don't you start with some thoughts?
Well, a thought was shared with me that it really resonated, and I hope it resonates with you. If you'll just, for a couple of minutes here, make yourself comfortable and close your eyes. And take a couple of deep breaths and relax. And now in your mind's eye, picture yourself. You're holding the earth in your hands. And it's rotating slowly. And you feel this wonderful, wonderful energy coming from it. But you also feel there's some discord, there's some anger, there's hostility, there's fighting. And your heart goes out to the earth. You so wish that it was happier, more peaceful, more joyful. And so you draw your arms in, and you're leaning the earth against your heart. And the energy is leaping from your heart into the earth. You can feel this energy coming in through your crown chakra, going throughout your chakra system, going out your hands into the earth, and going directly from your heart into the earth. And it's as if the earth gives a sigh of relief. And you hear, thank you, thank you. And it becomes quieter and more peaceful. And now you hear the laughter. The laughter is so loud it drowns out the tears and the crying. And the earth feels lighter. It's radiating more energy. And you sense within yourself so much love for the earth, perhaps more than you ever knew you had. And you recognize that the earth, like you, is a living soul, a living being. It too is an expression of the Creator. And you're connecting your divine essence of your soul with the soul of the earth. And you are sharing what you are being given from the Creator through your hands and your heart in lifting the earth up in consciousness, in frequency. And as such, you're blessing all of the life forms, especially the human life form that resides on the surface of the earth. And this is perhaps the deepest feeling of oneness that you've ever had with the earth. And it is a feeling you will remember. And whenever you think of the earth, you will think of your oneness with it and send it some of the divine energy that's flowing through you. And to know that each moment of every day, this energy is flowing through your feet into the earth. But now when you connect your heart with that energy, it's intensified 100-fold. we're here primarily in this lifetime to raise our level of consciousness, our vibration. But our secondary reason is we're here to help transform the planet, assist it in its ascension. And we're here, thirdly, to assist humanity in its ascension. And the only way we can really be effective in doing this, it has to start with us. But it doesn't end there. That's just the beginning point. From within ourselves, then, we send out words, energy, actions that are coming, that are being influenced, that are being elevated by the divine essence that's being shared with us, that is activating our soul, and our soul being the divine, loving energy, the conscious energy of the Creator. And as we amplify that, we can then share that. And as we share that, and as we continue to raise in our frequency, we're transformed. And it's by transforming ourselves that we help the planet and all of humanity transform. And now that we have millions, tens of millions of awakened light workers on the planet doing this, can you imagine the impact that that's having? And it all begins within these tens of millions of light workers. And now here's Ortrun.
Well, I just want to ask you a few questions before we continue. I have a couple of thoughts that I'd like to share regarding, what you're speaking about the individuals. And one of the things I came across is, actually it was through the Sisterhood of the Rose. And what they're saying, and you're basically saying this, I think, but I want to read this to you. It says, real ascension is the consciousness evolved to a certain degree that a physical body is no longer needed. It's called a rainbow body. And an ascended being can manifest things instantly. They talk about the bodies. They talk about the physical body, the plasma body, etheric, astral, and mental bodies. And all of these bodies, they need to be absorbed into that light body. And that's our task here on the planet Earth, is for us to actually do that in order to be able to attain that ascension process, for us to be able to ascend. They say that by doing that, absorbing it all into our light body, that is really what the event is. And the event is then can then occur upon the planet. So it has to happen within us first. So what do you think about that, Carl?
Well, there's nothing that they've said that I disagree with. There are just different ways of expressing it. And I think that we're expressing pretty much the same thing.
Okay. Carl, now, with that being said, so what do you consider to be the big picture for the planet? What is the big picture? I know we talk about Earth ascension. We talk quite a bit about the outer happenings upon the Earth and different destructions, things like that. But what does that all? What's the meaning of all that? Why do we have that occurring? What's the bigger picture of that?
Well, the bigger picture is the Earth. Since December 12th, 2012, has been given permission to follow a request that she had made some time ago. And the request was that she be allowed to raise her frequency into a fifth dimensional level of consciousness, which, when that occurs, that will be similar to having heaven on earth, all right? And it will mean that the lower third dimension she will no longer have that. and she will not even have the third dimension as the process goes on. She will be fourth dimensional and fifth dimensional. And how long it's going to take her to move fully into the fifth dimension, I do not know. In fact, it's probably not known because it depends upon our free will. But the people that have still much to learn from the third dimension, when they die, they will no longer be able to reincarnate on this planet. They will be reincarnating on lower dimensional planets that are supportive and are at the same frequency that they are at. All right. So the lower third dimension, in fact, all of the third dimension, has now been removed from the astral plane and from heaven, and is now affiliated or is attached to this planet of lower dimension that is not ascending, that these people will reincarnate at. So that transition has already begun. And the light workers are here to ground in the higher frequency energy that can help raise the consciousness of humanity and assist the earth in raising her frequency. And if you will, if you can feel and see and sense the earth as a living aspect of the Creator that is now moving into a higher aspect of its essence, even as we are. We're doing this together.
So, Carl, so this is how we are to be involved, is what you're saying, is that and also what this article is saying, is that we need to uplift our consciousness so that then the planet can be uplifted. Is that correct, Carl?
That is correct, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one of the questions we have here on our promo is, so why are we involved? Right? Ever wonder about that?
The light workers are different, if you will, than those people on the planet that evolved on the planet coming up through a lot lower life forms into the human realm. I've done life script readings for about 3,000 people. All of them are light workers. They need to be at that level in order to be ready for that. And not one of them evolved here on the planet. They are all descended beings having come from higher levels of consciousness, and they all volunteered to leave wherever they came from, whether it was a higher dimension of space or a higher level in the angelic realm or a higher level in the spirit realm. They all volunteered to lower their vibration, to come here, to be here at this time, to assist this planet and these people to go through this ascension process. So that's where that's why we're here. And once we're done with this, we may choose to stay on the planet because we will be able to reincarnate here if we choose, or we may choose to take on another assignment, assisting another planet, or even going in a different direction.
So it's like we have to unfold to enfold because it's an in-out breath. Is that correct, Carl? So can you give us some idea on what some of the specific parts of this unfolding would be, personally and planetary?
I think the biggest part and the initial part is you need to connect your conscious and subconscious minds. The subconscious is 85 to 88% of our mind. The conscious part is only 12 to 15%, all right? And so it means going into the alpha state, a state of peace and of relaxation. If it's during the day, we would call it meditation, and at the nighttime, we call it falling asleep, or in the morning, waking up. But it's where we're working out of both parts of our mind. Our subconscious is in contact with our soul. It is in contact with our spirit realm, with the angelic realm, with the higher dimensions of space. So by working out of our conscious and subconscious together and in a meditative state, we will then we will join our physical body together with our mental body and our emotional body. And then we will join them together with our divine soul. So we're making decisions and we're perceiving the outer world through the eyes of our soul and our heart-mind together. Now, know that our five senses are all focused outward. It's only by being in the alpha state that we can focus our attention inward. And it's the inward part of us that must change, all right? And by changing that, we are affecting that is in our environment because we are the co-creators of everything in our life. And it all comes from within.
Okay, so this little article I read, which is very short actually, it says that the event is an active interaction between our global consciousness and the galactic center, and that galactic energies are coming to us based on our ability to receive them. So what's your thought on that?
My understanding of the event is that it is a very, very powerful beam of, I'm going to call it light energy, focused on the earth. And its arrival is dependent upon how evolved the collective consciousness of humanity is. And it is the light workers that are really helping to elevate that collective consciousness. And when it reaches a point that we are ready for it, that beam of energy will envelop the entire earth. It will be very short-lived. But wherever a person is at in their consciousness, it will take them up one or two steps higher, all right? Now, there will be some people who are not yet ready to receive it, so it will have little effect on them. But most people, the higher they are in consciousness, the bigger impact it's going to have on them in terms of raising them to yet a higher level. And as humanity changes, and this energy is, of course, going to go into the earth at the same time that it's going into our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. So there will be a total upliftment. It will be a big step to moving us closer to the fifth dimension.
So then, okay, if this is the case, when we look in the outer, because that's really where many of us are looking, is what does that mean when you see these, I'm going to say these dramas that are happening before our eyes, when we're looking out upon Earth and seeing the things that are going on? What is actually the meaning of that, and how can that be transmuted into something of a higher vibratory frequency?
Well, you've heard of the ascension symptoms that light workers are going through. Those symptoms are caused because they are releasing those factors, those attitudes, beliefs, behaviors that are holding them back. And for them to progress, they need to get rid of all that is of a lower vibration than, I'm going to say, Christ consciousness. The same thing is happening to the planet. The planet has to get rid of those things that are holding it back. And so we're going to be experiencing shifts in the tectonic plates. We are experiencing, for example, greater output from the sun in terms of solar flares and coronal mass ejections. All right? So the Earth is having to get rid of these things also. And for example, one of the things that I think is happening in Kosovo is, the Ukraine, yes. That is going to be the end of war. War is not going to work in Russia succeeding in its goal. So there's knowledge is going to be gained. War is no longer effective on Earth because the frequency of Earth has moved out of that level of consciousness that methodology can have any effect.
Well, I think you can see that in many different arenas, because we're looking at many things, and certainly this time when we had our COVID 2 years of actually being somewhat limited in what we could do, it made us all go more. Well, not all did, but many went inward and started looking at themselves and seeing what's actually going on within themselves, because what's going on within each and every one of us is also going on out there on the planet.
See, and part of the shift that needs to that is taking place within us, as Ortrin has indicated, we saw COVID as a negative thing, but it ended up having some very positive results. And what's happening in Ukraine, people see as a very negative thing, but it too is going to have a very positive result. So when you see and hear and experience these, what we perceive as negative things, flip it over and look at the other side, because there's more involved than just what we see through our eyes and our five senses.
So really, if you're looking on the outer, it looks like the Earth is just like hell in a handbasket, I'm going to say, right? But if you take it within and look at it and see it as being, and I know Denise mentioned this in our mystery school, is see it as an allegory. See it as a story unfolding. And there are many different levels to the story. And when you start looking at what's going on in the outer and taking it within, you can then, your divine essence reevaluates and sees what has already progressed in all these different areas. Because we tend to forget. We look out here and say, this is happening, and we think, oh my gosh, we haven't got, evolved at all. We're still not really, we have really evolved, but we tend to think that way. And I just want to mention that I myself was a refugee in World War II, and I was 2 months old when we lost our home. And so I can really relate to the people, over Ukraine right now, because I saw what my family was going through, even though I was a small child. But so much more has evolved. It's been elevated, even though it may not look like it from our perspective at this moment. But if you went back in history and started analyzing, so much has changed as far as progression, and the things have gotten better. So there's always this underscore of things occurring, and it's lifting. It's always lifting the planet. But the more active we become in it and assisting the planet to lift, the quicker we will get beyond these things that look like these very, very negative things on the outside.
Yes. And I want to add that when these things happen, the one thing you absolutely want to totally, completely, 100% avoid is going into fear. Your fear only feeds whatever event you are fearful of, all right? But what you want to do instead is the people that are being most affected are not only the Ukrainian people, but also the Russian people, okay? And you want to send love. You want to send power. You want to send peace to the people that are being impacted by those events. So by doing that, you're diminishing the fear. You're empowering the people, in both countries, and if you can, see these people coming together in brotherhood. See them embracing, because they are very, very similar in so many ways. And see them, this attempt to push them apart, to separate them, backfiring. And see it bringing them closer together, supporting one another. That is, if we can, enough people just change their attitude from fear to love, that work cannot continue.
Are there any thoughts or any questions at this point in time?
Yes, ma'am. We have thoughts and questions in the chat room.
Okay.
for you both. Lily is asking the question, besides meditation and prayer, is there anything that Mother Earth is asking for us to do?
Well, there are, of course, meditation and prayer, as you mentioned. Those are certainly something for us to do. And the other thing that is important for us to do is, if we can, is to participate even in groups, like mass meditations, for instance, because, as two or more gather together, that enhances, the energy vibration to be able to uplift the vibratory frequency of the planet. And also, there are other things besides that. And to start becoming aware of the utilizing of, like they talk about, like tachyon crystals and energies. Those are vibratory frequency waves. You can focus in on the upliftment and helps uplift the planet even a little bit quicker. And it changes the negative energies into the positive energies. So those are a few things. And there are more, but Carl has something he'd like to add at this time.
Yeah, we can change our behavior. Mm-hmm. We can stop polluting the earth with plastic, with fertilizers that long-term are detrimental. By polluting, or we stop polluting the air, okay? These are absolutely essential things that we can all do each day. Recycle, okay? Minimize, simplify our way of living. And amplify what we can in Mother Nature with gardens, etc., all right? And beautify the earth with flowers, things like that.
All right. Thank you for that. And thank you, Lily, for your question. The last question, it comes from Del Marie, and she is asking, so is your mind and dreams open to communication with the beyond and the ancestors? And this is going back to you talking about the alpha state and getting into a meditative place to go within. Does that also include connecting with the beyond and our elevated ancestors?
It not only includes it, it's an essential element. All right? We are all one, and time in many ways is an illusion. It does not exist. Linear time doesn't exist on higher dimensions. And yes, drawing from their wealth of experience, asking them for what it is we need is essential. All right? And asking them to bless not only us, but the earth, and asking them to intervene at the level that they can and in the way that they can in events on the planet that need correcting. So, yes.
Thank you for that, Carl. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Del Marie. And thank you to everybody who's listening in. As we wrap up your show today, both of you, would you talk for just a moment about your Patreon offering?
Yes, our Patreon offering. It is something that we are making available at the beginning of each month. And with that, what we do is Carl will basically channel what is being given to him at that particular time. And I will be focusing on a specific part of life. I like to focus on more of the months. And for instance, like May that's coming up, focusing on that divine feminine energy and how that is incorporated within us, and to have that focus together. For the ones that are part of that Patreon, they are, like that, a little bit of that group that's coming together, like I mentioned. It can be a large group, but a small group like that, and focusing on the divine energies, which help to uplift the planet, that is another source and a way of being able to assist the planet. So that's the type of thing we'll be doing, but usually we'll also offer a bonus. Like last month, I offered an article that I had written on the topic that we were focusing on. I may include a meditation I've done on various topics. So it'll always be a surprise. It'll be one thing that's the focus, but then there'll be something else added, like I said, an article that's been written, or a a meditation that may have been recorded, or maybe even a show that Carl and I have done before. So we would love to have you be part of that. So yes, and if you are interested in that, you can go to that. It's www.patreon, patreon.com/Ortrun and Carl Franklin. So we hope you join us. It's a focus. It's not a live program. We will be sending you a recorded half-hour program at the beginning of the month. And we want to thank you if you're interested in doing that, but also thank you for being part of this program with us. We truly enjoy being with you, and yes, and love the blending of our energies here also.
Yeah, please have a wonderful month of May, and thank you for joining us, and I hope that this information is helpful to you. Please feel free to pass it on to people that are open to hear. That's something that all of us can do that can be helpful to everyone. So our blessings to you.
Have a beautiful day, everyone. And I have put the Patreon link for Carl and Ortrun in the chat room here. And I will post it on their page on Facebook, their fan page. So go check it out. Take a look. See what they're offering. Thanks, Carl and Ortrun.
It's wonderful being together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
Bye-bye now.